Dear brothers and sisters, today we are celebrating the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time Year B, and today our theme is being humble, children like, then we are great. Our first reading today from the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, talks about a righteous man who keeps the law of the Lord faithfully. And because of his faithfulness to God and to the Lord, we see people are coming to test this righteous man to see whether he will remain faithful to his God. That is what we hear in the first reading. Let us lie in wait for the righteous man, because he is inconvenient to us, who opposes our actions and reproaches us for our sins against the law, and accuses us of sin against our training. The righteous man is even tested with insults and tortured to see how gentle he is, and even is faced with trial for forbearance. Worst of all, this righteous man is condemned to shameful death, because according to his word, God was supposed to protect him. So his testing was, can God come out and protect him if this is a righteous man? And that's what we hear from our first reading. In our gospel today, we are hearing Jesus with his disciples. They are on the way from through Galilee, and he didn't want people to recognize him as they were on the way. And they are on the way. He told his disciples, telling them what is going to happen. He foretells his arrest, passion, death, and resurrection. But we see people, his apostles did not understand what he was saying. And they go on the road. The disciples begin to discuss among themselves who is the greatest among them. So when they had reached Capernaum, Jesus asked them, what were you discussing on the road? All of them were shy. But Jesus, aware of what they were discussing, he brought a child, a little child, and used him as an image, and he said, any one of you who wishes to be great must be like this child. And he tells them that whoever receives this child receives him who sent me, and whoever rejects this little child rejects me, one who sent me. So when we look on our today's readings, there are a number of things we can learn. But let us first understand our first reading in the context it was written. Our first reading is from the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, and was written for the Jewish community that was living in Alexandria. Alexandria was a cosmopolitan town. It had many cultures, but of the cultures, Greek culture and language were the dominant. And they were dominant. They were highly respected. They were even used in school. And the wealthy class, the land class, the elite class were using Greek. So many people started to prefer using Greek style of life, Greek culture, and Greek language. That some of the Jewish people who were in Alexandria also opted to use Greek. They abandoned the culture of their ancestors. They abandoned all the tradition, the custom, the Mosaic law. And now they looked at them as they were outdated, as they were meaningless, because of the Greek culture that had come. And it was like a betrayal. Now, the group that remained loyal to the Jewish group that remained loyal to their culture, to their religion, to the Mosaic law, felt betrayed by the group that had abandoned their culture. So they decided to test them, and that's when we hear them speaking. They decided to test God, inflicting suffering, ridicule, and even death to the faithful ones, to test whether God would intervene on their behalf. And if God would not intervene on their behalf, it would prove to everyone that it was just a claim they were claiming. That means their righteousness would have been false. Naturally, if God is proven false and untrustworthy, the righteousness would succumb to persecution. It would justify their renunciation of the Jewish way of life. This gives us the background and understanding of the first reading. When we look at these readings, in this world, we need righteous people who will follow the law of the Lord and follow God faithfully. We can see in the first reading people who remain faithful, and it is our duty to support people who are faithful, people who are genuine, people who are honest, and people who are righteous, to give a good example, unlike the people in the first reading who turn against people who are righteous. We have people in academic arena, we have people in the political arena, in society, in the religious section. But can we support people who are faithful, righteous, genuine? In the gospel, we have seen the disciples were talking amongst themselves, asking themselves who is the greatest among them. And we see Jesus challenging them. And he's telling them, if you want to be great, be like a child. In our relationship with God, we need to be big and be like children like. And that's when we shall be considered great. Greatness refers to service. And that's the best type of greatness. I love the Road Free International, they have their motto, which is service above self. That they recognize there are many people who are less privileged as they are. So, and they get out to do service, to help them. Can we be great in service other than in positions of leadership? Today we are challenging to be humble. And that's where greatness lies. Jesus, when he is the image of the child, because the child has no grudge with anyone, the child will be honest, will be truthful. So we are encouraging our today's reading to be humble. In the first part of the gospel, we had Jesus foretelling his passion, suffering, death, and resurrection, and the disciples failed to understand them. The prediction of Jesus confirmed that Jesus was committed and faithful to his salvation plan. And his salvation plan was to liberate human beings. Can we cooperate in that salvation plan? God created us without him, but he cannot save us without our efforts. That can we cooperate with him? So, we need to keep our identity as Christians. We should be proud that we are Christians and proud of because our culture is a culture of Christian, our lifestyle is a lifestyle of Christian, and our identity as Christians. We saw in the first reading, people denounce and betray their culture for the superior culture. We have no superior culture than the Christian culture. Can we be faithful with our culture as Christians? That's when we shall be great. Striving for better things in this world is a good thing. However, we must be careful and examine what is our motivation in striving for these good things, and what is the way that we shall use to get these things. Because getting good things, wealth is one of the good things, but we have seen people using the wrong way to achieve wealth. We have seen people being in leadership position is good, being in high position is good, but we have seen people doing everything possible, bad and evil, to attain these leadership positions. We must not follow that way. And to know that our God has never forsaken us. So we need to be faithful to to him and to his commandments. Or even when they were in Alexandria, he never, in exile, God never forsake them, and he never, at one way, was never distant. So, when we are tested, COVID-19 has tested us, there are many challenges that will test us, we need to remain to God in prayer and asking God to always show us his love. And we get our good news from our second reading, from the letter of St. James. And St. James warns us, if we are to be great and righteous, we must keep away from some of the vices. He mentions envy, he mentions selfishness, ambition, and he says there will also be disorder of and of every kind. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceful, gentle, we are willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without trace of partiality or hypocrisy. A harvest of righteousness is sown in peace for those who make peace. The Lord be with you.